Howdy, folks. Welcome back to the Unqualified Film Bros podcast for the final time in 2024. It's been one whole heck of a year, and we have gotten to our year-end episode. One of my favorites every year. I know that these two look forward to top fives every year as well. The fourth time we're doing this already. It's hard to believe, but
Yep.
we will get to our top fives in just a minute, or a few minutes probably. But right now we're gonna go around, and first we're gonna talk about some of the movies that we have not seen from this year, that we missed out on, that we really want to get to. So Benji, why don't you start this one off?
All right. Well, this one's pretty solidified, which is I have not seen Nosferatu. As everyone knows, I'm a big egghead. Um, so that means it's probably gonna be in my top five. I don't know where, but I just have not seen it yet. A Complete Unknown. I love Bob Dylan. I love Timmy Chalamet. Um, I've heard he does a fantastic job from Max. And the other one that I have not seen is The Brutalist, which Adrian Brody's coming out hot. This is his first big like Oscar campaign, I guess, since The Pianist. Um, as I know, he was somewhat tormented from that role. He's playing somewhat of a similar role, though he doesn't have to be skinny. He doesn't have to do any of that. I'm very interested to see what comes out of that movie.
Max
Um,
or Ben? Do you have any more?
no. I was just you know.
Okay. Um, yeah. Ben, I've seen a couple of those on your list. That's why they're not on mine. I saw Nosferatu today. And
Yeah,
a
you've
complete
seen the two
unknown.
that are
Yeah.
on my list. Yeah.
Yeah. But on my list, I have September 5th. I think it'll be a really interesting story on sort of the ethics on journalism surrounding a real event, real tragedy. Queer, just I didn't get a chance to see it, but I'm really fascinated by Drew Starkey, who actually is from near my dad's hometown in North Carolina. And then my top one is Sing Sing. I love Coleman Domingo. He's had a couple of pretty interesting roles recently. Drive Away Dolls, I believe, was the most recent one that I've seen. But certainly Sing Sing is at the top of my missed out on list.
I have seen that one, so I got one on you.
There you go.
Look at you
It's a
two.
great movie. It's an awesome movie. Not on my list, so I figured I'd give it some praise.
Cool.
I'm gonna mention one movie that was on Ben's list in my missed out ons, um, and a couple others that have not been talked about yet. So number three, I guess, Honora with Mikey Madison, building a heavy Oscar campaign for her. She's supposed to be fantastic in that movie. Um, really, only thing I've seen her in is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in kind of a small part. That's really only featured mostly in the third act. Great, great bit part right there. Or that's a little bit more than a bit part, but whatever. Um, so I'm looking forward to seeing Honora because I know that she shines in that movie, or I've heard that she shines in that movie. A Complete Unknown. I don't really have to say anything more than what Ben said. I've been looking forward to this since the casting was
It's
announced.
Bobby Dylan.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the movie.
Sound more
Poor
like
Bob Dylan.
sound like you're from Liverpool there.
I could do Liverpool.
Yeah,
I could do
yes, we're
all
the Beatles from
I could do all four
Liverpool.
Beatles if you want me to, but I'm not going to. Um, and then number one, I'm surprised neither of you mentioned this. Maybe you've already seen it. A Real Pain, directed by Jesse Eisenberg, starring Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin. Supposed to be this great family story, hopeful and heartbreaking at the same time, about two sort of odd couple cousins sort of backpacking and barnstorming through Europe. Comedic, dramatic. It's got everything that I'm looking for. Does it all in a tight 90.
A true dramedy.
I am very much looking forward to seeing that one. So, with that out of the way, those are some movies that we're going to prioritize in the new year from this year. Let's talk about what movies in the new year we're going to prioritize and talk about our three most anticipated for 2025. Max, why don't you start this one?
Sure. I guess I'll start with number three. It's Edgar Wright. I believe he's doing a remake of The Running Man, and with Glenn Powell.
Hmm.
Oh, that's
It's
going to be so
actually,
good.
yeah. And I loved Edgar Wright, Baby Driver. So I think it'll be really interesting.
I love that George is like, I don't think you've seen the original. You're just like Glenn Powell, Edgar
Glenn
Wright.
Powell,
Oh my
I'm
God.
there. Not the last time I'm going
It's
to be saying that
It's
phrase
an
on this
easy
episode, by the way.
sell.
it's a
It's
fun
such an easy sell.
it's a fun concept. They should
Yeah,
have a good time.
yeah. Number two, George, this might surprise you. I have Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
I am
Wow.
surprised that that's not your number one most anticipated.
I am very excited for what is billed as like the conclusion to the Mission Impossible franchise, but let's be real. Uh,
It's
I
not.
don't think that.
It's not.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Tom
Uh,
Cruise is gonna come back when he's 70 years old.
He's going to be playing
88.
Ethan Hunt till he's 90.
Yeah, you could do it. Jump out of a plane.
I think he'll
Well,
probably go until they think the insurance is too high on him.
Or until the first stunt they shoot actually kills him this time.
I'm praying for not that.
I am
yeah,
hopeful for not that, but it's a risk. That's why they shoot
Hey
the most
man,
expensive stunt first.
he's a professional. Don't worry about him.
I'm always worried about Tom Cruise.
He knows his limits. Has he ever failed a mission? No.
true,
That's true. Mission accomplished. Ghost Protocol 2011.
true. And I guess, just this little tent pole coming in early mid-July next summer. James Gunn, you son of a bitch. I think you may have done it. Uh, I'm very excited for Superman.
So
I'm
good.
excited too.
It's going to be so good.
It's gonna be so good.
I love James Gunn. I've loved
Man.
him since he does weird comedy horror pictures.
Yeah. Creature Commandos is awesome. I'm gonna toss that a recommendation too.
You guys should watch Tromeo and Juliet. I think that was his first writer's credit.
Okay.
Put it on the
It's
list.
psychotic.
It's a very
Um,
good Ben word for that.
what?
That was a very good Ben word for a James Gunn movie. Psychotic.
Mhm.
Oh, yes. Well, yeah, I mean that's obvious though. Um, is it my turn or you already did
Yeah.
yours, right?
I
Yep.
have not done mine yet.
Oh, never mind.
I'll go next.
Go for it.
Um,
Mission Impossible.
my number three. So two of Max's are on my list. My number three is Superman. I think it's going to be fantastic.
I do too.
Everything just from that one teaser trailer with no dialogue whatsoever just looks. It's got the look. It's got the feel. They got the reimagined John Williams score in the
It
teaser trailer
feels
already.
super.
It feels super. Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it, Ben. My
That's
number
what all the
two.
reviews are gonna say.
Yeah, my number two is Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
Wait, not what?
Yeah, yeah, throwing you off there, Ben. I seriously
Huh.
considered putting this at the top spot, because I fell in love with the franchise last summer, and Dead Reckoning was just an incredible ride in the
You
theater.
probably changed it right now when we called you out on
No,
it.
no, 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 no.
Like, oh,
I
I gotta
changed it.
put that number two now.
I can show you when I updated my list.
No, it's fine. I believe
Um,
you.
yeah, I fell in love with the franchise, and I'm deliberately avoiding the trailer, so I go in completely blind. And Max, I know you're
That's
doing that too.
that's why I think it's your number one. That's crazy.
Well, my number one has no trailer yet, even though they have wrapped filming. And I might be cheating a little bit with this one because it doesn't have a confirmed 2025 release date, though it is expected
Okay.
in 2025.
All right.
Wake Up Dead Man, the third Benoit Blanc mystery.
Ah, that
Knives
makes sense
Out,
for you.
Knives Out and Glass Onion have been instant five-star movies for me. Um, this cast is insane. I would trust Ryan Johnson and Daniel Craig to write and perform and direct this character and this style of mystery comedy to the ends of the earth. I hope they make a billion of these. So yeah, that's my number one most anticipated for next year, even though it doesn't technically have a release date for next year.
All right. My let's see, number three is probably we'll go with Mission Impossible. Um, you guys all have that on your list, so I don't think I need to say anything else. Uh, number two is Mickey 17. I've been waiting for this movie for 2 years.
I'm
Two
excited for that one.
years, Zaslav. If I don't get it this year, I'm going to go to his house, okay? And I'm going to personally take it from his hard drive. Um, I mean, it's Robert Pattinson, it's Boon Joon-ho, it's an amazing sci-fi idea. Like, come on, just give it to us. Number one is obvious. Dune, Messiah. How could I not say that?
I thought it was 26 though.
Is it
I think
26?
that's a 26 release.
Oh God.
So this time next year, you'll mention it.
All right. Then my new number one is the Batman Part Two. Is it?
Also 26.
God, why did everything's delayed?
Strikes, man.
Um, hold on.
Just say
Yeah,
Superman.
it's not Superman. It's not. I'll go with Captain America, Brave New World.
You just want to see Harrison Ford as
Um,
Red Hulk.
yeah, for that reason, that's good enough for me at this point. Now that I've been crushed, I thought Dune Messiah was originally slated for 25.
It was when Dune Part 2
Was.
was supposed to be 2023.
I know it in my head. It's just I respect the actors and the writers, but why now?
Let them have their
Why couldn't
process.
we
Let
get a
them
deal
finish it.
a little bit sooner? No, no. If they got a deal sooner, regardless, doesn't matter. It'll be on my list, number one next year. Tune into that. That's my list, though.
All right. So now, before we get into our honorable mentions and our top five, we got to talk about the worst picture of the year. Um, I'm going to go first for this one, and then Ben and Max. And I want to go right before Ben because I know he's going to yell at me for mine. Um, my worst picture is the movie I enjoyed least this year, Alien Romulus. Sorry, Ben. Sorry, Max. I did not have a good time with that movie. Yeah, it's really well made. It's a good sci-fi horror film. Not for me.
I think we have to reevaluate and say worst needs to be more objective than that because
Then that can be the rule for next year.
we watched some very bad movies this year, like Madam Web.
I knew this was going to happen. That's why I had to go first.
Okay. All right. That's fine. It's all right. You didn't enjoy it. That's cool. But it's not the worst. It's definitely not the worst. We watched Craven last week. Was it last
Last
week
week.
already?
Yeah.
God, time goes slow when you're not having fun. Um, Yeah, that's my worst. Well, no. I take that back. Craven is not my worst. I actually had much more fun than in Morbius or Madam Web. Madam Web is my worst because you know what? In Craven, the actors at least committed. Everyone is, it's a terrible script, terrible everything, but everyone is pretty committed. The guy playing the Rhino is doing his best to make Rhino noises. It's incredible. And Madam Web, there's just a lack of commitment, you know? It's bad, sure, but you got to commit.
Have you considered the fact that he was in the Amazon with her mom when she was researching spiders right before she died?
Uh, it's so soulless.
Just like the ADR work.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the worst. Truly terrible film. Zero redeemable features to it. And yeah, they released that instead of the James Gunn produced Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner trial movie.
Yeah.
Disappointed. Wait, no, I'm wrong. No, that's Sony.
Yeah, Sony was
No,
Madam
that
Web and
sorry.
WB was
DC's released plenty of dog shit too. They have a million DC things that they should not have released. Point stands, don't release that crap. That's just horrible. You should have realized.
sure. Max?
I digress, Max.
Yeah. Joker Folie à Deux.
That's a good
It
choice.
was
That's bad.
just bad.
That's the
And
one I was thinking of. They released that instead. Granted,
yeah,
I
like
can't fault them. Joker made like $1 billion. What were they
it
thinking?
contradicted itself way too many times, and it like uh, uh, ew, ew.
Not good.
Yeah.
All right, now on to the good
All
stuff.
right. Honorable mention time. We got two or three, maybe four each. I think two or three. Um, we'll count them down. Wait, how many do each of you guys have?
Three.
Yeah, I got three lined up.
All right. Let's just roll through all three and then we'll go around for number five, four, three, two, one. So Benji, your three honorable mentions.
Well, I gotta go with Furiosa, Mad Max. I mean, gotta love that stuff. Love the first movie or first love Mad Max Fury Road. First movie like 20 years, so forgive me. But I also loved okay, what was on it? Hold on. Oh, yeah. Hitman. I love that movie. It's not on my
Dude.
top five, but it is an awesome, awesome movie. And I'll also go with critically, sure, it's not the same, but I love The Fall Guy. I really did. Um, two guy movies on my honorable mentions.
Hmm.
Are we counting Hitman as a 24 release? Because that
Yeah.
changes things for me.
But it is though, isn't it?
It was a 24 streaming release, but I think it was a 2023 movie.
Oh, well, it was yeah, it was like limited release though for like a year.
All right, we'll count it. We'll count it.
I feel like it's unfair since none of us were able to see it in
Right.
Yeah.
2023.
I think we all would have counted it last year, so let's count it for
Yeah.
this year. Max?
George, you can go ahead.
Oh, okay. My honorable mentions. Adding Hitman into the mix kind of throws things off for me. Let me adjust real quick.
Yeah, I kind of just assumed since no one other than people in limited circuits were able to see it, we would count it as a
Yeah.
2024
Um, okay, so
wide
my
release, you know.
my three honorable mentions, you would call them like 876 on my list. Um, Music by John Williams, the documentary on Disney Plus. I had a
Wow.
doc in my top five last year with the Apple TV Steph Curry Unlimited film, and I remember how mad you guys got at me for that. Um,
Wait, was
so
it
music
was
by
your top
John
five?
Williams. The only
That
reason why
that's
it's
that's more reasonable.
the only reason why it's not in my top five is because I was so ridiculously overwhelmed by the film that I didn't know which of his scores I wanted to listen to most when I finished. It's just breathtaking, the breadth of his career and the success that he's had, and how ingrained in our culture all of his scores are,
Yeah,
and the
it's
fact that
true.
he's still doing it.
He's like 90 something years
He's
old.
he's over 90, and it's remarkable. And that doc is just the look behind the curtain at his relationship with Spielberg, and I digress, but it's if you haven't checked it out, check it out. Um, We Live in Time. I
Yeah.
know the nonlinear narrative didn't work for some people, Ben included, my sister included. Um, I loved it. Florence and Andrew are absolute dynamite box office, incredible performances, incredible chemistry, easily worthy of an honorable mention, and it's going to get some Oscar buzz. Um, and then my number one honorable mention is maybe the film that surprised me most this year in how much I enjoyed it, Challengers.
Oh,
I
I thought it was also going to be Alien Romulus.
no, I went in knowing what I expected out of that one, and I got what I was expecting. Not a great time. Um, yeah, Challengers, we get three elite performances in a story that's really fresh, really fun. Um, I love the energy of the score. I love the brilliant visuals of the camera work. Yeah, Challengers. It was initially in my top five, and Hitman changes that. But yeah, Challengers would have been
I
my five.
I take it back. We got to relegate this rule. It must be in his top five.
You want Challengers in my top five?
No, it's okay. It's in
Yeah,
mine, so
my
don't worry about it.
my top honorable mention is Challengers.
Fair enough.
Max, you okay over there?
Yeah, I have a mouse. Sorry.
A
Oh,
mouse? Oh my
It's like
God.
teasing me. Sorry, sorry.
Live action. Guys, this is the most
this is
exciting
why
thing that's ever
we
happened on the
record these
podcast.
live. We this is live and uncut.
All right.
Let's see if
Max is looking. Mouse is sneaking
Can
about
we get the
somewhere.
mouse a headset? Like, can we get this live play by play?
I don't know what a mouse does.
okay.
Just
It was
Tom
a
and Jerry. Tom
terrible
and Jerry.
I
attempt.
don't see him, but he was like running
They
back
just
and forth.
talk. That
Okay.
is that's a DC thing.
All
The
right.
mouse is
Well,
like known
Wait,
for
it's a
eating a.
mouse though. It's not a rat.
no,
Okay,
it's like it's small, but
you
All right,
eat a
that's much
brick
better.
of cheese, and then your body takes the shape of that cheese.
Just
okay.
adopt it.
That's an
Just
idea.
adopt the mouse.
Okay. Anyways, we're back. Welcome back, people. All right. Honorable mentions. Number three, Long Legs. I thought it was really interesting. I liked Nicolas Cage. I wanted more of Nick Cage, and I'm excited for The Monkey uh, next year. Osgood Perkins, the same director, is coming back with an adaptation of Stephen King. Um, Number two, Transformers One. It was beautiful. I loved it. A
Good
lot of
choice.
fun. A
I like
lot, a
that.
lot of fun.
I am glad that I solidified that on the menu or
Yeah,
on the schedule on the
yeah,
menu.
yeah. Very happy with that one.
Too much Gordon
And
Ramsay.
Chris Hemsworth gave it his all and he delivered. Um, and
Excellent
my
choice.
number one honorable mention is Wicked. It had its flaws. Um, and George and I had this conversation. I agreed with pretty much everything he said, but I didn't care. I thought it was awesome. I loved it.
It's
I
a great
loved it.
movie. A lot of flaws. Great
Yeah,
movie.
yeah. Lot of flaws. Great movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. The moment y'all have been waiting for. We're counting down 5 to 1. We're going to go around, all say our fives, then our fours, then our threes, then our twos, and then our favorite movies of the year. I'm still finding a place for Hitman shit. Um, all right. let's Max, why don't you go first for this one, and then Ben, and then me.
Okay, number five.
Yeah.
Um, Nosferatu. I got
Uh,
the chance to see it today. I want to see it again. Uh, I really liked this. I really, 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 really like
so
it.
excited.
Um, it. Well, I won't say anything else. I'm not saying anything else because we're going to talk about it next year. So I'm saying nothing else.
Fair enough.
I'll go, and I also realized there was an honorable mention that I needed to add, which was The Substance.
Hmm.
That that movie's right up my alley. It's great. Um, my number five, I only thought of that because my five and four are kind of my weird picks. My number five is Kinds of Kindness. We did it on the podcast. I really love this one. It's bizarre. It's a three-parter. I forget what a triptograph or something is what he described it as. Or a trip. God, what is the mirrors? I don't know. You guys probably don't know. It was a weird word.
I remember Yorgos said something like that about it. I don't remember the word.
Yeah, whatever the three-part paintings, right? Um, it is a strange like device to use for a movie. I really loved it. I loved all the performances. I loved the weirdness of it. That's my kind of movie. I love weird things. Um, so that's my number five.
Cool. My number five, probably a movie that you two thought was going to be higher on my list, but I did just rewatch it around Thanksgiving. And yes, I do love a cameo fest, but Deadpool and Wolverine can only be my number five this year. It's Marvel's only movie of the year. I think that was a smart choice. I think people were getting a lot of Marvel fatigue. It's a
Mm,
great ride. It's a lot of fun. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman have ridiculous chemistry. There's some pretty great action, pretty great laughs.
they are friends, so I would hope they have good chemistry.
And Sean Levy does a great job with the direction. The Bye 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 opening is iconic. Yeah, I loved it, but it's number five.
Are we just going in order? So back to
Yeah.
Max.
So back to
Back
Max.
to me. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Number four, juror number two. Clint Eastwood did it. He made a courtroom drama that is basically just talking interesting. Um, Nicholas Holt, nicely done. You made my list twice.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Well
Cool.
done. Yeah.
Um, my number four is I Saw the TV Glow. Ridiculously surreal experience. I loved it. Um, again, my other weird movie.
I thought you were going to say more.
No, no, sorry. That Max was keeping it short. I was trying to follow in his footsteps.
All right, I will match that. Um, I'm gonna put. Shit, this is tough. Um, I'm gonna go with Saturday Night at number four. I literally just finished rewatching it 20 minutes before we recorded this episode,
Hmm.
and it holds up. It's so like the whole ticking clock element, the history of one of my favorite TV shows. I said I would keep this short, but I'm not going to. I love movies and TV shows about the making of movies and TV shows. And so this was obviously going to be a huge winner for me, Max. I think I said that when we did the episode. Ben, you were sick that week or something.
I
Um,
was.
but yeah, it's well crafted as sort of an homage to everyone who made that night happen 50 years ago without being a parody, without being caricatures. Really, really well made, really fun, exciting ride for one of the best TV shows ever made. That's my number four.
Yeah. All right. Coming in at number three, Late Night with the Devil. Um, David Dastmalchian is absolutely captivating as a washed up old, late night host. And I love the introduction of like the Grove like group, cult group. Um,
It's a real cult.
yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah, George, it's pretty crazy, dude. And then
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
I watched the episode you guys did.
you were sick of fear that week.
It was.
yeah.
You'll see if I'm sick of fear next week.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
I think you can make it. I
Yeah,
believe.
all right.
We'll see.
My number three is Conclave. I don't need to say too much because I talked so much about this on our episode, but it's an awesome, almost thriller. It's got a lot of introspection, a lot of creative themes, taking faith and taking bureaucracy and sort of analyzing both of them and your pledge to both of them when you go in the church. I loved it. Awesome performances. Great movie.
This is number three now, right?
Hmm.
My number three is going to be The Fall Guy. It's an action comedy. Y'all know those are my jam. Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt coming together after the massive Oscar nominated success that they had in their films last year and delivering once again elite performances from the two of them. Their chemistry is unreal. It's a fun, again, homage to the original TV show. It's a fresh take on, again, movies about making movies. Um, there's so many different layers to it. It's a lot of fun. Fall Guy number three.
Nice. My number two is Dune Part Two. Um, it was as big as I would have wanted it to be. As incredible as Dune Part One was. I mean, I think it outdid itself in a lot of ways. And for the best, Austin Butler, we get what, like 3 or 4 minutes of screen time, and he takes over. Um, and Timothy Chalamet is on a roll. He's on an absolute roll. I have loved him in both of his big sort of tentpoles this year.
Talk about Wonka.
I haven't seen it.
Neither have
I
I.
I haven't seen it.
It was on
Uh,
little peek behind the curtain for all you out there. It was on the schedule for last December until like the week before, and Ben strong armed us out of it.
I was mad at David Zaslav.
And you know what?
The
It
principal,
was
so
well
is the
worth it
principal
because
Stan.
none of us has seen the movie anyway.
I've heard he's really good. I've heard the movie's really good. I feel really bad about it, but also,
There he is.
God, David Zaslav, what is wrong with you? Get out of there, man. Just leave. Um, my number two is also Dune Part Two. Um, I had to go a little bit bigger because Max already said it. Yeah, it's awesome. Like I can't say anything that Max didn't already say. It's a ridiculous cinematic experience. And if you have not seen it, please go see it immediately, now. Close the video. Go watch it.
Good
Like and
answer.
subscribe though.
I like that you threw that on there at the end. Thank you. My number two literal last minute as we're recording edition, Hitman. It's a ton of fun. Glenn Powell and Adria Arjona, again, I love the chemistry. The Notes app scene was the best written and performed scene in any movie that I saw this year. It was utterly captivating. It was exciting. It was funny. It was completely engaging. And the rest of the movie matched it. It was just the best action comedy of the year with an absolutely outstanding performance from Hollywood's next great superstar. He's already there, Glenn Powell.
Yeah.
All right. Top movies of the year, boys. What is your number one? What is your favorite? What was the best of this year? And honestly, I thought both of you were going to say Dune Part 2 for this, so I am completely in the dark right now.
I already told you what my number one was
I forgot.
months ago. Months.
I forgot. Is it another movie that you thought was coming out next year but is coming out the year after?
It would be really impressive if my number one movie was a movie that was supposed to come
Just
out
don't
next
think
year.
about it too much. Don't think about it too much.
Okay, I'm living
Max,
in the future, guys. Apparently,
Conclave.
good
It was
choice.
solid
it
I
pick.
love the movie.
was beautiful. And as a political guy myself, I loved how political it was. I loved how gossipy it was. It was,
And hypocritical.
yeah, it was incredible, incredible. Um, I mean, Ben, you already talked about the performances, and I agree with everything you said, and more. I, it was gorgeous. Loved it.
My number one is Challengers. I talked about it
That's right.
on the episode, and I was like, "This is gonna be my number one, probably." I had seen it after Dune, so I knew it was such a special experience. I think it's Luca's best movie to date. Um, just a brilliant like idea. The soundtrack perfectly coming in, like the fastest moments are on the slowest, cinematic moments. Everything has a certain beat to it, and like a game of tennis, like a relationship, there there's just a chemistry there between everything. Um, it's an incredible movie, an incredible experience. For a lot of people, I do warn them, it's kind of weird. But if you were into that kind of movie, I think you can get a lot out of it. And even if you aren't, you'd probably still enjoy it. Um, it's just there are a lot of crazy themes in there and wonderful ways which he uses the camera to show different, moods and connections with people. It's my big thing with film has always been like show, don't tell. It's not a lot of telling. You're not told what to get out of this movie, but you can get whatever you see, which is what true art is.
Well, as I said for my worst picture, it was the worst time that I had at a movie theater this year. My number one had to be the best time that I had at a movie theater this year, my best theatrical experience of the year. And when I looked back on all the films that we talked about, all the other films that I saw in the theater, it was a really, really obvious choice, and that's Dune Part 2.
Woo! I'm so happy.
It took, and you guys have, I mean, you talked about it a minute. Sorry, was I supposed to go even bigger than Ben did because he went bigger than Max? Dune Part
No!
2.
There you go.
Yeah,
Here we go.
that's
Yeah, it took
you got to bring out the
everything.
megaphone next time.
Like the first movie had to build the world for the audience who hadn't read the book, hadn't seen David Lynch's adaptation, and so it had to do a lot of the lifting with the world building. This film could really play around in the world and advance the plot with new cast members, new story, new action, And everything that Denis Villeneuve does in this film just elevates and escalates and goes bigger and better than everything that he's done before. Um, Dune Part Two is a tremendous film, and I was having a little trouble setting my order, but then I looked back on the theatrical experience and that clarified everything. It wasn't close after that. Dune Part Two, my favorite movie of the year.
I like it.
I knew you would.
Well, I
Well,
guess that's it.
that's it. Um, Happy Merry. Enjoy the new year. We will see you next week.
Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Festivus.
Yeah, all that.
Sure. I'm with Ben.
Did I miss any?
I'm gonna go rewatch Challengers, see if it actually deserved its spot in my top five.
Okay.
All right, we'll see you next year. Good night.
Good night.
I